I've got another great example of why manga has pretty much taken over the American comic book industry. Everybody reads manga. It sells out everywhere. Stores can barely keep it in stock. If you go to a Barnes & Noble, I mean, manga pretty much is the comic book section. They have like a tiny little section for American comics. It's kind of sad. But everyone else says everything's just fine. There's no problems here. American comics are doing great, better than ever, in fact. Though if you take the manga sales out of that, it tells a different story. But this is probably one of the best examples I've seen so far for why American comics are in such a bad place. And you can call this a joke or a gag or whatever they're doing in this book. I'm going to read you a review that someone wrote who says he doesn't understand why this is done, and it really has no purpose. I'll tell you what the purpose of this was: to push everyone on the left's favorite thing, gender ideology. So this has been going around on Twitter. Seen a few people posting this. This is from a backup story in the comic book Joker, the Man Who Stopped Laughing. It's a backup story, and it has no purpose other than to push men can get pregnant too. So this is Joker pregnant. That's what this is. Your eyes don't deceive you. This is exactly what it looks like. Joker pregnant with a baby. Well, what have we here? I think you're pregnant. I think you're right. Do we have a good OBGYN? It's a real thing in a Batman comic. Now, this is what makes this kind of crazy. So I've done videos on this, and you can go back and watch them. Just go to my channel and search DC Comics. It'll pop up. DC Comics and their characters aren't doing well, because in the top 50, there's a list on ICV2, though you have to be a paying member now to see it. They've hid it because they're ashamed. In the top 50 comics that sell, this is excluding manga, DC Comics is on that list, but every single comic is practically a Batman book or a Batman-related book. By that I mean Catwoman, Batgirl, Joker, Poison Ivy, 15 different Batman books. They have to flood the market with Batman to stay afloat. What's not selling are Green Lanterns and stuff like that. Those aren't even on the list anymore. So it's wild to me that they would take a chance like this, because this is your bread and butter now. Like, they weren't really messing around too much when it comes to Batman, because they know that comic needs to sell. It needs to sell, and it needs to do well. So they weren't messing around with this. In fact, like, one of the few things that I've seen, they kind of dabbled with, maybe Bruce likes to swing both ways, hinted at that once in a book. And they also, Robin, of course, is swinging both ways now. That's about as far as they've went. There was one other thing, but I can't remember exactly what it was. For the Batman, okay with Antifa. He was okay with them looting stores because of insurance, which is BS. Batman would never do that. And now we have this. I think this probably tops them all. I don't know if I can show you the next panel. The next panel is him getting a pelvic exam and giving birth. So, he was on the straps and stuff, and he's getting ready to push out his mud monster, because that's what it was. Because apparently this was a spell done that gave him a mud monster. So he released the mud monster, and it came out and turned into a son, and now he has a son, and he adopted it, which I think is this picture. No, this is, I don't think this is from that. This looks like a baby girl, but it's all in this book. I had to look into this. This is from BatmanNews.com, and this is the book that it's from, Joker, the Man Who Stopped Laughing, #4. People are going to read this and be disgusted. I'm surprised. And this is it's a $6 book, not like a a cheaper book. But people are going to pick this up, and they're going to be like, WTF. And I don't blame them. So this is the first part. There's two parts to this story. So you got the main one. The Joker is not laughing. I don't know what this book is about. I'm not reading it. But then you go down here. There's a Red Hood story. So this is what DC's doing. They're packing their books with multiple stories. So if you want to read a Batman book and that's all you want to read, you would happily pay $3.99 for that book. You can't do that now. You got to pay $6 and get a bunch of books that you don't want. I like the Red Hood. There's a Red Hood story in here. But why would a Joker fan want to read a Red Hood book? I'm just saying. And vice versa. Do you think a Red Hood fan who bought a book called Red Hood would want to read a story about the Joker? You're charging people for more money for characters they don't want. But this is the acid trip backup. Unless the Red Hood's in that story. Like I said, I haven't read this book. I'm going by what they're saying in here. And there's a backup right here. The more interesting thing to talk about when it comes to this comic is not the main story, though. It's the backup. This is probably the worst story I've ever read in my time reviewing for Batman News. Once again, we find ourselves in an homage to old-time comics. We find Joker in a dream sequence at the mercy of yet another female superhero he's become enamored with. Zatanna. I really don't get the running gag here. The Joker has never been defined as someone obsessed with chasing after women. However, that's not what makes this comic insane. Now, that's true. So that's weird. Like, Joker is not obsessed with women. If anything, like, well, you know what he's done to them, especially with Harley. But I'm just pointing out here, like, I agree with the writer that this doesn't make any sense. He's not a womanizer or a chaser. Like, this isn't what Joker does. Showing you once again that these people that are writing these books don't understand the characters at all. They live to destroy them. And that's what they're doing here. I don't give a shit if this is a backup story or not. There's now a story that exists of Joker pooping a baby out. Joker wakes up from his dream and finds that he's pregnant. I'll repeat, the Joker wakes up in the morning and discovers that he's pregnant. I didn't make that up. Just look at the picture below. So the Joker goes to the hospital and prepares to give birth, and he winds up throwing up a mud monster instead. A violent, gun-filled chase commences, but then it is discovered that the mud creature has morphed into a child-sized version of the Joker. The Joker accepts the thing as his son and shows him off to Zatanna, taunting her over the family she could have had with him. Boy, oh boy, manga, you better watch out. American Comics is coming for you. What is going on? What is going on? I love this. What the heck did I just read? This is one of those comics you can't really review because there's no real story or artistic vision to pick apart. All you can do is describe what I can only surmise is the delusions of a comic writer on a very special kind of weed. Writing aside, however, there have been a lot of these little moments or stories at DC lately that make me go, how the heck did DC editorial give that a green light? Is there any kind of oversight at the company now? That's a damn good question. That's a damn good question. I don't think so. Here's actually, let me rephrase that. And this is something I've said time and time again. It's not a DC problem. It's also a Marvel problem, an IDW problem. It's an everywhere problem. These editorial people are lazy. They don't actually do their job. They're underqualified. And if they are qualified, if they're from the older guard, they're too scared to reject the idea. Imagine having that come to your desk for approval. What do? Because they've let all of this rot hit the industry with these people that want to push gender ideology and all this other stuff. Do you reject it? Well, then you have the risk of them calling you a bigot on Twitter. And you're canceled. And this gets, like, look at the review keeps pounding. Recommend if nothing could ever stop your addiction to buy comics, you always wanted to see the Joker pregnant and trying to give birth. Overall, comics are overpriced. Their contents are either sub-mediocre or feature the writers exposing their fetishes. That's a damn good point. This is a great review. One of the few times I have actually seen a comics outlet give an honest review, because Bleeding Cool and CBR are going to praise this as the greatest comic book ever made. It's very progressive, all of that stuff. When really it's disgusting. This is if I could pick one picture to summarize American comics, this would be it. You want to know why American comics are dying and My Hero Academia is the biggest thing ever, Chainsaw Man, all this other stuff? This is it right here. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think. Also, if you would, please like, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that notification bell. Check out my Rumble and my Locals. Doing a giveaway over on my Locals this month. Giving away some CGC graded comics. Pretty cool stuff, actually. Even if you're not into them, they're cool. They look cool. You can give it as a gift. All you have to do is just follow me over there and you'll win something. Followers and supporters are getting prizes. So check me out. I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Make sure to check out my Locals. There's a link in the description. It's a fun community that I'm trying to build over here. If you don't want to support me on YouTube, you can come over here. None of that money goes to YouTube. You also can just come over here for free. But if you are a supporter over here, I do plan on doing an extra live stream once a month and throwing links to the supporters so you can actually come on and have a supporter live stream with me. Also, it's a good place to catch all of my content. You don't have to worry about notifications like YouTube. They'll definitely work over here. So come check out my Locals.